Welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about AWS IAM policy. All right. Before we go on, let me explain what IAM is about. IAM is the way we authenticate and get authorized into AWS to have access to a resource. Okay, it's important so we secure and prevent unauthorized access to our valuable resource within the cloud. Okay, so within IAM we have what we call IAM resources. Okay, or the IAM component. The component are the users, the groups, the policies, the identity providers, and so on and so forth. But in this particular video we are going to concentrate about what we call the IAM policy. To me is the backbone of what we call the IAM services. Okay, does it mean, IAM policy? So IAM policy is the way we control who have access to what resources within our cloud environment, and we can leverage on what we call principles of least privilege. You only get access to resources to do particular tasks that you are only authorized to do at that point in time. Okay, so there are so many ways we can leverage on preventing security vulnerability within our cloud environment, and IAM policy is a key. So the policy itself, okay, is just a JSON document. By that I mean it's just a rule that we've written, okay, to tell you what action you can take on what resources, and with a condition that could be at what point in time or from which IP source, and so on and so forth. Okay, this policy will be attached to an entity. By that I mean any entity which is users, groups, okay, and roles. We attach it to that, and what AWS will do is to evaluate, okay, the policy, check what is allowed, what is being denied, and at the end of it you have what we call permission. So after evaluating your JSON policy, or which is the rules, okay, it will be evaluated and you have what we call your permission, either denied permission or allowed permission. Okay, in a nutshell, on a higher level, that is it. Think about it as a document with rules, with actions on what you can do on a resource. This policy will be evaluated and you have a permission, either allowed or denied. Okay, I hope you understand it. Let's move on. At the end of this, we will move nicely into our AWS environment and do the practical side of things. For now, just follow the concept. If you understand it, please like it, comment, and also share with your friends and family so they will be able to enjoy what you are also enjoying. So let's move on. The next slide is actually explaining what I've previously said. By, we say pictures speak more than 1,000 words. Okay, so I have what we call a JSON document. This is how it looks like. But before I come here, let me explain the policy types. Okay, we have about 4 policy types, but I'll put on here 2 of them. Okay, we have what we call identity based policy. These are attached to an identity. By that, an identity is the one that get authorized. By that I mean that could be a group, a user, a role, okay, even a principal, if I should put it that way. And we have what we call the resource based policy. Resource based policy are attached to a resource. Again, you might be wondering, what is resource? There are so many terminologies here, but stick to my video, keep liking it, keep commenting on it, and then subscribe to it. You have more video. Some of them will be nice and short, some of them will be a bit longer, for about 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then you get full details on that. Let's move forward with this. So resources is basically an entity, something, an object we create in AWS within a service. So think about it, AWS provide a service. Okay, it could be compute, it could be IAM, which is, it could be policies, compliance. Within those services we have what we call resources. Okay, something we create under a service and we manage it. Right. Right. let's move on. So this permission logic, what do we mean by that? So, so this is how, let's say when you create a user and it doesn't have access, what happens? Basically, by default, you are denied. Okay, less privilege. And what we have is when you explicitly allow the user, or you give policy, you will give permission to the user. Okay, these policies are allowed. But when you have a conflicting, let's say denied and allow, which one will take precedence? Deny will take precedence over allowed. Okay, when you have two policy, they are combining, the effect will be deny when you have both of them together. Okay, so this policy, let's explain it here. Like again, I said we will be moving on to the practical side, and I'll explain it a bit more further. Okay, just to consolidate this theory. Right, so the policy is written like that. We have your statement, like I said, it's a rule. The statement is a document statement, right? And don't worry about this. AWS is the version that AWS will provide. All of them are like that. I'm not sure when the last version was changed. Okay, 9 out of 10 is going to be like that. What is important here is the effect. If you say allowed, so that means all the operations or the actions, okay, that will be taken is going to have this effect. So this is get object. That means you are allowed to get an object. Okay, and ignore the spaces in here. Okay, the next action is list bucket. So you have the permission to list bucket on hot resources. Okay, on this AWS Amazon resource name, ARN. It stands for Amazon resource name. Okay, and that is AWS S3 resource, and it's a bucket. Okay, and this is the name of the bucket. So you allow all actions on this content. So these actions on this content. Okay, so in a nutshell, you are allowed to take all this action, okay, on this specific bucket. That's all it means. Okay, if this is denied, that means you are being denied. Okay, so on a higher level, this is what we're trying to do, and this is an example of the bigger picture which I have already explained. Identity based policy, resource based policy, and we have what we call permission boundaries. Okay, so let's quickly move on to our console and then create a policy, look around it, how it feels like, and then we'll end this. And if you have anything, you can comment it. Any video you want me to do, please comment it, like the video for more of this. Okay, so let's log into my AWS. Okay, so I'll log in. So by that I mean I'm getting authenticated. Okay, so this is the authentication. Now I'm in. What can I do? Which is the authorization. If I'm able to click this and then see the resource in there, that means I'm authorized. So let's go to IAM. Okay, so I'm in the IAM, or if you're not sure where to find it, okay, here you can search for IAM if you want. Okay, click on the IAM and it get open for you. So what you have here is access management. So we have groups, users, roles, policy, identity provider, and settings. So this is what we call the IAM resource, yeah, or the component of it. And again, I'll be doing videos of every single one of them. What I will do today on this video, we are concentrating on the policy. Okay, so let's create ourselves a policy. Okay, and then we will try and attach a policy to a group or a user. I think we will do a user, yeah. So we will create a policy, we will explain what the policy is about, and then we will attach it to a group. Okay, so let's click on the policy and I'll explain what the policy about. So we have the types, yeah. Either customer manage, you manage it, you create the policy, you write the JSON policy, you manage it. Okay, it's your task to manage it. Or AWS has its own managed policy that you can reuse. Same as yours, you can reuse it. we have two of them here. Can you see AWS manage and then AWS manage job function? The job functions are specific for jobs roles, I would say. For example, if you are like data scientist, okay, the policy here, let's open the plus sign and it kind of explain, if you're a data science, basically the policy that might suit you. Okay, so let's close that, and we have, let's say, security audit. Okay, this policy will suit that security policy. So this job function policies, or AWS manage job functions, are specific for jobs roles. Yeah, again, you can build your own policy, your own custom policy. Okay, so we are here. Let's open that one, AWS manage, and the rest is AWS manage. Okay, they manage it, this policy, all the time. Okay, they do change every now and then. So we create our own policy. So we have two options: either do the visual or the JSON. Okay, we will do the JSON, but let me quickly show you around. So it's just a matter of picking the type of resources, okay, or the service you want to use. Okay, let's say you want to do RDS. Okay, you can select all, you select all the level of access you need. Let's say describe account attribute, describe, okay, proxy. Okay, let's go to, let's say, read. Pick one from read. Let's do read recommendation. Write. Let's create DB instance. Okay, and then we can create was cluster create. Let's do cluster endpoint. Okay, and what you can do next is resource. Okay, what resource or specific resource? Let's do all specific resource. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the JSON and you will see. Okay, it's the same thing. This is the JSON side of things, so it doesn't matter. So we have our policy or the JSON document. Okay, and then the resource, which is all resources. Okay, by that we mean effect you are allowing RDS resource by all RDS resources. Okay, again, you can zero it down to specific resources. Principles of least privilege at all time. For learning purposes, let's leave it for all RDS resources. Okay, next we can go to, on the next, you give your policy a name. You can call it the dev hyphen RDS cluster policy. Okay, and you can describe it. Okay, let's grab that here, and then you can say this to dev access cluster. Okay, what you do, you go create. Okay, the policy is getting created. Okay, and what you can see when we go to customer manage, okay, because we created it, we manage it. Okay, we can search for it. What is it called? Dev, that's what we call it, dev RDS policy. No one, dev RDS policy. So let's click on that just to open it, to show you. This is the policy we wrote. The policy is sat there, the document is sat there. We need to use it. To that end, let's find a group. Okay, again, on our next video we will show you how to create groups, users, and so on. Okay, so for now we have an existing group. Let's leverage on that. Okay, so that is the developers group. So we are going to click on that, and then what we're going to do is that group, we go to permission, and then we're going to attach policy. What policy are we going to attach? Okay, our dev. Let's go to customer and be a bit quicker. So the dev cluster policy. Then we attach it. Okay. Therefore, if you're a user and you are part of this group, you have access with this policy. AWS will analyze it and then either allow or deny. In this case, we have an allow policy on here. Okay, so that is the end of the policy. In a nutshell, policy is very important. It's the backbone of what we call the AWS identity and access management. It's going to allow you to have permission, okay, to be able to access resources within AWS services. Okay, by that, without this, you will not be able to have access to anything. So to me, it's very important. That is why I'm taking this, as a separate video. So if you liked it, please comment, please share, and please comment on the video, and also like it so we can do more such a video. Thank you and happy learning. Thank you.